night.
Time for your weekly dose of pop culture.
With Cassie and Kenny. Welcome to the show.
Welcome. It is Kathy and Kenny explain pop culture. It's Saturday night, so you know what we do. I am Kathy Walker along with,
I am Kenny Walker.
and
Was I on
what
time? Was
better
I on time
way?
that time?
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Was I on time with that this time?
Yeah, you were on time with that, so we're getting better. What better way to spend sibling day than with siblings? So we thank you so much for being here and tuning into the show. So Kenny, why don't you talk a little bit about tonight's show?
It's sibling day.
Yes, it's sibling day.
I didn't know it was sibling day. I didn't get you anything. I just okay. Anyway, on sibling day. So, Captain, my camera's all off because my head's cut off and everything. But anyway, on sibling day, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about 80s music and different aspects of 80s music. We're going to talk about what the icons were, what your favorite 80s music moments were, everything like that, everything you want to hear about 80s music. Now, if you want to have a conversation with us on this, please make sure you comment. And Kathy's going to come back and give you the phone number because we have a phone number that you can.
You can call the show 704 252 8813 704 252 8813 and be on with us live as we talk pop culture. Want to say hello, of course, cousin Lisa in the house.
Lisa's in the
Yay.
house.
Always here, always showing support.
Lisa's in the house. Thank you, Lisa. And you know, Lisa listens to my positive and productive every morning. She supports that too.
Oh, that's awesome.
Our cousin Lisa's the best. But also
And that is
to,
every morning you do the positive and productive
every
2 minute
morning, every
daily
morning, like a
motivation, which actually goes longer than like 2 minutes,
yeah,
but
it goes about 5 minutes. Sometimes
it goes
depending on
about
what I have
five
to say.
minutes. And they can find that on Facebook or on your YouTube channel,
Yes,
Kenny KP Walker
yes,
Jr.com. I guess is
yeah.
links to all that good stuff
There's all the links to
for
everything.
those, you know.
And
So it is sibling day, and we have a special guest with us. It's our
we have
brother
a
from another mother
yes, our brother from another mother is
who
joining us for
is
80s
crucial
talk.
to the show because
Yes.
when we're talking, he's usually coming up with the facts and the data. So please welcome to the show, like I said, our brother from another mother, Ed
Ed
Brown.
Brown. All
Hey guys, how you
right,
doing?
Ed Brown.
Ed
Yeah,
Brown is in the house with the impressive uh, DVD collection in the background. Or I'm sorry,
I'm getting mine.
VCR. Those are like, are those
it's a
DVDs or
combination: DVD,
VHS?
Blu-ray, VHS. I threw a couple of albums in the background just to kind of spice it up a little.
Oh, he even brought up the vinyl because
Oh yeah,
it is 80s music that we were going to be talking about tonight.
Yeah, Don't
And
don't don't
yeah, I
don't be a
had
show.
all the vinyl in the 80s. I think
don't hate Kenny, don't hate.
Don't be a show off, Ed. Don't be a show off. Okay, a real little background here. I don't know if you know Ed Brown is an old friend of
Hello, Miss
mine.
Nelson True.
Huh?
cousin
Ed Brown is
Lisa.
an old
Steve
friend of
on.
mine.
Happy Saturday, Steve. Thanks for coming
Thank you,
along
Steve,
and
for coming
streaming
in.
into the show.
Ed Brown is an old friend of mine. We used to work together at a company called Paychecks, and we used to get me, him, and our friend Leon used to get in a lot of trouble together back in the day. If something could go wrong, we would get our hands into it. And but yeah, Ed's a really good friend of mine. He was at my wedding, and you know, so but Ed's our brother from another mother, and he is so versed in pop culture. And we're talking 80s music, which is one of Ed's specialties besides horror. So, with that being said, I wrote up a little syllabus thing for us, a little outline for us to follow. We're talking about 80s
Oh,
music.
was I supposed to read
I
that?
have a couple points.
I didn't
It
even
would have
look at
been
the
nice
outline.
had you read that. You didn't look at
Oops.
the outline?
No.
Like, why are you not looking at the like?
I'm sorry. I had things to do today. I had, got
Yeah,
my life.
take yourself off the screen for that. You know. Um. Anyway,
I'll go
I
sit
I
over
go
in the
through the
back
trouble this
corner.
morning. I go make the trouble of making an outline so we have an outline to talk about different facets. You know what? Let's just do the outline. So we'll talk about 80s music. Some people were around for that. Some people weren't around for that. Hey Dion, how you doing? Nice to see you here.
Isn't it
Um,
scary to think that, there's a whole generation of people who miss the 80s?
who don't know
And it would
80s?
be nice if they bring back you remember how, I guess, was it in the 70s when we had a whole like 50s revival with Happy Days and American Graffiti and that whole thing. So in the 2020s, they need to bring back the 80s like big time.
Well, they tried that with Wonder Woman 1984 and it didn't work.
Yeah.
Santos is watching. Hey Santos.
Hey, welcome, welcome, welcome. So, all right, in your outline, and I did glance at it when I took myself off the
Okay.
screen. I
Well,
went and looked at the
we're going to
outline.
start off with the biggest 80s influence when it came to music.
Who do I think biggest 80s influence? I would
Yeah,
have
who
to
do you
say
think?
that would be, I don't know. I'm a toss up. I have two M's,
Well, go
either
ahead.
Madonna or Michael.
See, now I have those in my mind, excuse me, under our next category, which is 80s icons.
Oh, wait, wait. We didn't finish with the influence. I mean, why do you
I
have
know,
these?
but okay, when I say influences,
Okay. What do you
I
mean by
mean,
influences?
with all things, you know what? Santos is touching my heart right now. All things Prince.
Oh,
Anyway, moving on.
Lord.
Moving on. No, influence, I mean, like things that help 80s music along, like MTV was an 80s influence as far as
Oh,
music.
okay. Because to me,
VH1
80s
was an
music,
80s.
it's more than just the music, though. Because I mean, it was not just the music; it was the fashion, and I don't know. There was a whole thing to, I guess, the music of the '80s, and I think what I liked about it too is that the music kind of crossed over. So it wasn't just
Hmm. Yeah.
all R&B or all rock or all it that pop. Um, I think that music it had appeal to everybody. So you could have hits by everybody from Brian Adams to Tina Turner to your Princes and your Madonnas and your Stray Cats, and it was just such a hodgepodge. And to me, it seems like, especially in pop music, a lot of different genres kind of came together and wound up being beloved during the 80s, whereas in the 90s it started to fraction out where you had grunge over here and new jack swing and we started dividing up, and probably that's why where we are today. But
Here's one of the
it
comments.
to me it was more melting pot in the 80s.
Yeah.
80s was a decade of punk rock.
Punk rock.
I don't. Who's a good punk rock artist? Name a good punk rock artist.
The Clash.
The
Oh,
Clash.
I love the Clash. Rock the Casbah. Oh my God.
Train in
Oh my
Vain.
God.
Yeah.
Who? Who?
They had a song called Train in Vain. Should I stay or should I go? A
Oh,
Yeah.
bunch of
Should I
stuff.
stay? I gotta go.
should I go
Yeah.
now?
That's on my
Hmm.
playlist.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got to give
Yeah,
myself
yeah.
the buzzer. I
Give
started
yourself the
singing. There's no
buzzer,
singing on
Kathy.
the show.
You look. Now you're saying, look, you didn't read the outline, and now you're singing. Like, really? Is this what you're doing?
Oh, but and I think the biggest influence to the music of the 80s too was the um I won't say invention because it was out there in the 70s too probably, but the proliferation of music video. because
Yes.
now we
Yes.
had not just words and lyrics or music and songs or artists and concerts, but then we had this visual that I think helped make the music just that more memorable. And I mean, okay, some of those videos were downright cheesy, and right now in my head, all I can see is Olivia Newton-John and the "Let's Get Physical." Um, oh, come on! Because that was the definition of
Oh,
cheese. And but yeah, but I remember Video Soul with Donnie Simpson, and again the late night video shows that were trying to eat into, again, MTV. Video killed the
Radio.
radio star.
which was the first video on MTV.
First video on MTV. Yes,
What was
Yes.
the
yes.
Yes.
second video on MTV?
What was the second video?
Oh
Oh
Uh-huh.
my
man.
goodness, you know that, Ed.
I
Oh,
know it.
Ed, come
This is
on.
why Ed comes with the
Come on.
facts.
Yes. Yeah. What was the second video, Ed?
You Better Run by Pat Benatar.
You Better Run
Wow.
by Pat Benatar.
Yeah.
Speaking of Richard Marx,
Love is a battlefield. Okay, so here's a comment. I had a crush on Richard Marx during the 80s. Oh, yeah. Love Madonna and Straight Outta Compton, but my mama banned me from listening to them. Had to listen to some of that music on the sneak tip.
I
Oh,
saw
man.
in the
Oh, the
80s.
80s was also when we got that little warning label on
Yeah,
albums,
but
courtesy
in
of
the
Prince in
in,
1999.
in the
Oh,
80s,
right.
I
Yeah.
saw Richard Marx in concert in the 80s, and it was a concert with a lot of other artists. One of the radio stations was having, and Snap was on the bill. I think like Peaches or somebody like that was on the bill. But Richard Marx was the main act and the closing act, the headliner. And I was like, yeah, I really don't care about seeing Richard Marx. And for people in the air in this area, in the South Jersey, Philadelphia area, I was at Pulsations, believe it or not.
Oh, God.
Yes, yes.
Wow.
I'm going way back. I was at
Wow.
Pulsations, and Richard Marx was there, and he was actually I liked Richard Marx from that point on. He put on like the best stage performance ever.
So you became a Richard Marx fan.
Yeah, I became a Richard because I said when Richard Marx comes on the dance, I'm just going to go around and try to pick up girls. But I wound up listening to Richard Marx and going home alone.
Okay, like a Virgin was not her favorite. I mean, by her, I'm thinking you mean your mom, or I don't know if that was
Yeah. Like a
because I
virgin.
I actually have been listening to Sirius XM 80s all day, so
Nice.
just to get my 80s music chops back up.
You know what?
And
She's right though. Kids love the 80s music. One day I was in the car, and I think this is late 80s, early 90s, but Kiana was like, Dad, I heard this song, it's great, and this new song I heard, this, that, and the other. And she started playing it for me. You know what it was?
what?
It was Boys the Men, Motown Philly. And I had to break it to her like, yo, that's like really old,
Kitty,
Kiana.
you need to shift yourself over. I don't know if you can see that. We can
Hold on a
only see
second.
half of you in the camera. We'll let you get yourself together for a minute. Oops.
You want to talk about an influence on music in the 80s as well. This is going to sound odd, but there was the rock and wrestling connection. Vince McMahon had brought in Cyndi Lauper to do a lot of
That's
cross promotion. And, one of the things that I think what happened is it made Cyndi Lauper really mainstream at that time. And, it helped Vince McMahon out with his World Wrestling Federation. And then rock and wrestling kind of was born from that. And all the wrestlers would come out to the 80s music. And, it was just jamming at that time.
oh yeah. I remember who was the guy? Lou, was it Lou
Captain
somebody?
Lou Albano.
Captain Lou
Yeah,
Albano, who
Captain
was in
Luambano.
the Girls Just Want to Have Fun video playing her
Mm-hmm.
dad.
Yeah. He passed
Yeah.
away, didn't he?
He did
Yeah, he
pass
died
away.
about 10 years ago.
Yeah, I do remember that. But Pat Benatar, oh, definitely the 80s. Love is a
Yes.
battlefield.
Yes.
Love
Love
me
is
some Pat
Battlefield.
Benatar.
Yes. Love is Battlefield.
So
Love
again,
is a
when we
battle.
talk about some of the influences, hmm?
Wasn't Love
What?
is a Battlefield?
Love
Wasn't
is
that
a
the song that
battlefield.
wasn't that in the song that was in the movie Billie Jean?
No, that was Invincible.
Oh,
Fair is
Invincible
fair
was
was the
in,
tagline from that movie.
yeah, was in Billie
Invincible. You
Jean.
will be invincible
Fair
by
is
Pat
fair.
Benatar. Fair is fair, Billie Jean.
Fair is fair.
Fair is fair.
Mm.
Hmm.
No, you gotta do it like this. You gotta do it like this. Fair is fair.
Fair is fair.
Fair is fair, Billie Jean. You got to shave your hair off.
Right. Oh my God. Oh, with the guy who was in the Stephen King movie with the car, Christine. Oh, I can't
Oh
remember that
yeah.
young actor's
Oh,
name. See,
he's
usually
actually a
Ed is
director
on
now.
these, but now that he's on the air.
Yeah.
Oh, John Mellencamp. Oh, and again, in the 80s, he was John Cougar. And then I
Yeah,
don't think he
John Cougar
became
knows that.
John Mellencamp till the
Yep.
90s, right?
Little
And saw him at
ditty
JFK.
about Jack and Diane.
Okay. Follow the rules, Kenny. Follow the rules. Ah, Journey. Yes. Don't stop believing. Okay,
You
sorry.
know what I like better than Don't Stop Believing?
What?
You know what I like better by Journey? I like
Open arms.
no.
Don't tell me you're a ballad man.
No, I'm not a ballad man.
Wheel in the sky.
No. If you must go, I guess you will. Someday love
Separate
will
Someday love
ways.
find
will
you.
find
Yeah,
you.
separate. Yep,
Separate
separate.
ways. There you go. That's it.
Separate
We belong
ways.
is definitely a great one from Pat Benatar.
Yep.
Again, we were
Yeah.
talking music of the 80s, influences. We mentioned the advent of music videos, the connection between wrestling and music and how that tied in together. What are some other influences on the music of the 80s, guys?
Well, of course, the clothes.
Oh, the clothes,
The
the
Wardrobe was
fashion,
very
definitely.
80s. Um,
And the hair.
the hair, the
Now,
high
when we
top
talk
fade.
about in the next category, when we talk about some of the icons, and again, I guess I jumped the gun because I went with my Michael Jackson and Madonna, and again in that video format, Michael just ruled throughout the 80s,
Oh yeah.
being one of the first black
I,
artists
I
to be
would.
played on MTV,
If,
and
if, if we're gonna
and I
talk about
remember
icons,
things like Thriller. That was an event.
oh, oh,
It's like, oh
Thriller
wait,
was an event.
Yeah.
Thriller was an event. Now
here's my
let's talk about.
question: what
Mhm.
happened to Ola Ray?
I know.
Where's
That's not
Ola
right.
Ray's career?
I don't know. I don't. I,
I gotta be
I
honest with you. I don't know who Ola Ray is. I'm
Ola
stumped.
Ray.
Exactly. Nobody does.
Ola Ray.
But she
Ola
she
Ray
had
and
like
was a young lady in Thriller. That Michael Jackson was singing to, the really beautiful young
Oh,
woman.
she was pretty. Oh,
She
yeah.
was pretty. Yeah.
Yeah,
oh
she was.
oh Miss Santos, definitely Tears for Fears was one
Yep.
of my
Oh, the working
favorites.
hour. We
Songs
are
from the
paid by
big
those who know our mistake. Oh,
okay,
the working
Songs
hour.
from the Big Chair is
Yes.
probably just one to me one of the best albums of the 80s. I'm sorry,
Wait a
I don't care
minute.
who
Slow down.
knows.
Slow
And not
down.
just for the hits. Everybody knows, like, everybody wants to rule the world, but there are cuts, there are just gems on that album. And if you take nothing, in fact, if you want to leave and go listen to Tears for Fears, you have my
Yep.
permission. Bye bye. Bye, Felicia.
Yep.
Go listen to Tears for Fears, Songs from the Big Chair. Oh my
Oh my
God,
goodness.
Well, no, wait
Broken.
a minute.
Yep.
Wait a
Oh,
minute. Wait.
I believe
Tears for Fears. The song is a very good album. You're talking 80s though, man. I mean, Mike came off with
what
Off
could
the
be more
Wall and
80s than
Thriller.
Tears for Fears? Come
I
on.
know, but off the Wall and Thriller came off at the same time. Come on,
Well,
Mike had
Off
the
the Wall
80s
was
on lock.
first, and I think the thing with Michael Jackson with Off the Wall, when he went to the Grammys, I think he was expecting to get more awards than he did, and it sent him back in the studio to go, oh wait a minute, I got to come correct on this, and he was kind of like laser focused, and again that's what I feel like the 80s did. It kind of mixed those genres because you had like Eddie Van Halen playing that riff on Beat It. So
Yes,
Yep.
now you got
yes,
like,
yes.
R&B merging with rock and just exploding. So,
Yep.
Let,
but
let,
yeah, that
let's
album,
speaking
uh,
of Michael Jackson, let's move on to the icons of the 80s.
okay, icons of the 80s.
Is which is, and I have to, I'm a big Prince fan. Prince is everything to me. But I would have to give the 80s icon nod to Michael Jackson.
Mm. I would say Madonna is a close second because Madonna,
Yes. Yes.
kind of defined the 80s. Is she the world's greatest singer? No. Is
No.
she the world's greatest marketer? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. 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 In the 80s, she marketed
She
the
owned
hell
the
out of herself.
80s.
Yes,
Homegirl
she
owned
did.
the 80s.
Yes, she did.
Although, you know who, I mean, I think she's an icon, and I had a friend who used to make fun of her because she only had two notes. But man, she worked her two notes, and that was
Who?
Sade. And I just love
Oh.
me some Sade. And when I
Shaw.
think of
Oh,
80s, I
Sade.
can't.
Mhm.
Who didn't like Sade? Like,
I
how
mean,
do
she
you
wasn't
not
as
like
iconic,
Sade?
I think, as maybe a, a Madonna or even a Michael. Who else would you say was an 80s like icon?
Prince.
If you're talking about groups, I mean, you've got U2.
Groups. Mm-hmm.
U2
Oh, you
is huge.
too. You
Huge.
too.
You
Oh my
too.
God.
You too. It
Oh,
wasn't the 80s, but it was 2001. And I always have to tell my U2 stories because I actually saw U2 probably four times in 2001. Two of those times being before the Twin Towers fell, and the other two being um, after that when they came back and played at Madison Square Garden
Wow.
with um, oh gosh, I can't think of the song. I think that they did one, and they had the name, excuse me, of all the victims, and
Yep.
everybody had the lights and
ooh.
lights up, and it, it gives me goosebumps just thinking about it.
Yeah.
But man, you two, and to see them in concert, that is, oof.
There's a song,
If you
there's a
get a chance,
version,
go see you two in concert because
there's a
they are still
version,
doing it.
there's a version of U2's. I got it on Spotify. I don't know what year they did it in, but I still haven't found what I'm looking for. There's a
Mhm.
version of I still haven't found what I'm looking for. Um, where he
I would
said where
say
they're singing with a
Rattle and
choir,
Hum is.
where they're saying with a choir, and it's live, and it
Hmm.
is the I could play this version over and over again of that
Yeah.
U2 song because it is wow. It's all that. Um, Dion put a group there that I am very familiar with, Depeche Mode. My
Yeah.
Oh no,
closest friend,
but she also put The Cure, which I
The
don't want
Cure
to.
Hmm.
too. Yeah,
I don't want
yeah.
to skip over The Cure
You don't want to
because
see
to
The
me,
Cure.
when you talk about influences too in the 80s, that we did have this, I kind of call it like our second kind of British invasion, where we got a lot of good stuff. And because, when you talk about like folks like Depeche Mode, and I think of all the other uh, different groups, Boomtown Rats, just, there's, oh wait, what am I? Oh my goodness. I'm getting email. I have the phone on and it is connected, but I'm just now getting text messages every 5 minutes. I'm sorry, guys. Go ahead.
That's, that's all right. But I saw Depeche Mode. I have my good friend Marcy, loves Depeche Mode,
Mm.
and I've seen them twice in concert. And knowing that the main song I know, of course, is "Personal Jesus," which is, I
Wow.
think, an '80s like "Personal Jesus," like,
Personal
and
Jesus is actually 90s song.
it's a
I think it was
'90s
out in
song. You sure?
1990. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. 1991.
Phil Collins being an icon. Yes, you know what? Phil Collins is an
Yeah.
icon.
Jacket
Of the
required.
um
Oh my God.
yeah,
Susu Studio.
because Phil Collins
That's
and
it.
I
That's
mean,
total 80s.
yes,
In
in the
the air
air.
tonight.
And,
Against all odds.
and the thing about Phil Collins is, you know what? I want to say something too. As far as music videos, And as far as another thing about music, one of the TV shows that kind of emphasized the music video theme was Miami Vice back in the 80s.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Miami Vice would like,
Oh, that's right.
Miami Vice, they played the songs and you see Crockett and Tubbs driving and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Like, like the
yeah.
air of the night is playing in the background. They're like, they're about to go to a shootout or something like, it's getting
Oh, you
serious.
know what? Let's all take off our socks and wear our pastel pants with our, leather
Yeah.
loafers without the socks in honor of Miami Vice and its influence on the music of the 80s, because that is true. It was like it,
That,
it it was like a 60-minute music video for the most part, because those songs would come up. And actually, also too, in the 80s we saw a lot of the performers moving in front of the camera and taking on
because
roles.
Phil Collins was on, he
I
did a movie and he also did some episodes of Miami Vice.
And didn't
Wasn't he in a
Glenn
movie called
Fry do
Buster?
episodes as well?
Glenn
He
Fry
did
did,
what?
yeah.
Glenn Fry from the Eagles.
Yes,
Yep.
And
yes,
then
Glenn Frey.
well, he kind of like Phil Collins. He kind of broke out and did his solo thing in the 80s as well.
The Fine Young Cannibals. That's 80s, right?
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay,
The
okay.
gentleman from
Good
Fine Young
thing.
Cannibals, the gentleman from Fine Young Cannibals did the Highlander TV series.
Oh, okay. I didn't
He
know
was
that.
he was on there. He was an immortal, and he was kind of badass.
I love the Fine Young Cannibals. And you know why, Kenny? Kenny, you know
Why?
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 Do-
I don't know why.
because their group is named after a Natalie Wood movie. Natalie Wood actually only starred in two movies with her husband, who I actually think actually killed her, but that's another story,
That's
allegedly.
not.
Anyway, I won't go into my whole conspiracy theory on that. Christopher
that that
Walken
that you
was
know
involved too.
that's
But
a
in any
pop
case,
culture topic.
here you go.
Hollywood deaths.
She did a movie with what was her husband's name?
Heart to
That guy who
heart.
killed her.
Robert Wagner. No,
Yeah. Anyway,
is it?
they only
Okay.
did two movies together. One was a TV movie version of oh no, three movies. I'm sorry. There was another one too. I can't think of the name of the other movie. I just remember this page boy haircut and it was kind of horrible. But there was a movie called All the Fine Young Cannibals that Natalie Wood and Robert Wagner starred in, and that's where that group got its name of She Drives Me Crazy fame, was from that Natalie Wood movie, All the Fine Young Cannibals. Anyway, I know things.
We got
That's why I'm a pop
Personal
culture
Jesus
kid.
was made in 80, thank you, Dion. Personal Jesus 89, which makes it an 80s song. Your
It just
own
got into the 80s.
personal
Oh,
Jesus.
Although
I don't know
Enjoy the
about that.
Silence, I think is better song.
Enjoy the
But
silence. That's a
anyway,
great one too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah. And the next George Michael.
Ooh, Faith.
Yes. Good
I
one.
feel
Good one.
so
George Michael. That
unsure as you get my head across the dance. I'm never gonna dance again.
never gonna sing again. Thank you. All right. Oh, George Michael. You know what? There was a TV show, and actually George Michael appeared in it. It was in the 90s, I believe, or maybe it was the early 2000s. Does anybody remember that TV show?
George Michael?
Yes. He didn't star in it. He had a guest appearance in it because the lead character was hearing his songs and his music. Um, it's going to
No.
come to me. Yeah, yeah. Ed, usually you look these up. You know these
I know.
answers.
I know. You
I
gotta be
want to
able to
say
pull
Eli
that up for you.
Stone. Am
I
I
don't
am
know.
I right with that? Eli Stone? Because I remember the actor who played Sick Boy in Train Spotting was the star. Go figure. Who was
Never,
married to
never, I never seen
Angelina
Train
Jolie
Spotting.
at some point, but
Never
I
seen
think it's
Train
called
Spotting.
Eli Stone. I thought it was actually a good TV series, but it just kind of died. Anybody know what I'm talking about? I'm all
No.
on my
Yeah, I
own
don't.
on this. But
Yeah,
the
it's too
TV show
much.
was called Eli Stone. It starred because I'm looking it up. Johnny Lee Miller, who, if you look it up, he was married to Angelina Jolie. See, I'm not making this stuff up. I do know these things. But in this TV show, he was like a lawyer or whatever, but he started having these hallucinations, and he was seeing George Michael singing like Faith and different songs.
Awesome.
But again, um, my big 80s concert, I had several of them because I got to see like the Amnesty International concert, which was awesome.
Wow, nice.
With my old roommate, Teresa. And
Well, we saw Purple Rain together.
oh yeah, that was an amazing
We
concert.
went to the Purple Rain concert.
But I
together.
was talking to you last week a little bit about the concert I saw, which was Katrina and the Waves, Shaka Khan, and
Woo!
those were the opening acts, and the headliner was indeed Wham. So George Michael,
Wow.
Andrew Ridgeley. So
Wow.
Wham.
Everything she
That
wants
is total 80s.
is everything she sees.
Okay. Um, although, actually, what was this? It was a song called Monkey on that one George
Yeah,
Michael album.
That was
Monkey
on
off
the
your
Faith
That
back.
album.
song.
Why can't you do it? Why can't
Yeah.
you take that monkey off your back?
Okay.
I can't talk about 80 songs without trying to dump them out. You know, speaking of monkeys, I was thinking about this all day when I knew I was going to be talking about 80s music with Ed. And this is the song that I know Ed loves. Ed, Digging Your Scene, the Blow Monkeys.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's an oldie.
Love
an
that
oldie.
song. Love that song. Love that song. Okay, so
Hey,
that
was
leads us
this
to
80s? I can't remember the band. I Just Died in Your Arms Tonight.
That was the
yeah,
cutting
that,
crew.
yeah, that was the Cutting Crew.
Right.
That was 80s.
That's the one hit wonder
That
of
was
the 80s.
1985,
Which,
I think. Right.
yeah, there were a
There was
ton of great one hit wonders.
when I was
Come on,
when I was
Eileen. I mean,
when I was in college, and I was part of the WDBK 91.5 radio station. I used to play Cutting Crew, Down in Your Arms Tonight, and another song, I forgot who sang it, Heartbreak Beat.
By the
Ed, you know
Psychedelic Furs.
Second up first, Heartbreak Beat, and Down in Your Arms Tonight, because this girl that used to listen to me liked it. So I would play them together all the time because I met her and she was my age, and she knew a friend of mine that they all worked together. And I would play her songs for her so I could get a date.
why does everything come back to your dating life? It's
I don't
sad
know.
but
It
true.
just does. I did get the date, but like most women, she turned out to be crazy. But anyway, keep it moving. Now we're talking about songs.
Oh my goodness.
Let's talk about the best songs of the 80s.
Wow. I mean, that's so
That-
hard
oh,
because there were a lot of good songs, and sometimes it depended on, like, I don't know, like what were you in the mood for? I don't know.
yeah.
Ed, do you have a best song of the 80s?
I don't because there's so many that I liked. I mean, I honestly think that a lot of one-hit wonders were great songs from the 80s. Think
Yeah.
about Voices Carry from Till Tuesday.
Oh,
Remember that?
Oh,
That's
yes.
choice.
I Want Candy, Bow Wow Wow.
Oh my goodness. I think there was a local show in the Philadelphia area, a video show that used to come on Friday nights, and the opening to that particular video show, and if you're out there from the Philly area, you might feel me, but it was that drum beat from I Want Candy.
That was Video Rock. It was on Channel 17. I remember that. It was
See,
called
there you
Video
go.
Rock.
Wow, Ed with the digging beat.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, Santa. Oh, you're on this. Not a
Well,
one-hit wonder, because
Minds.
Simple Minds also had a song called All the Things She Said that I love. But
All the
anyway,
things she
but
said.
Alive
don't
and
you
Kicking.
forget about me.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go into the movies of the 80s, that'll take you down another whole rabbit
Yeah,
hole
that'll
of,
take you.
Soundtracks from the 80s
of
produced
good
a lot of
80s
great music. Yeah.
You know what? I think it just occurred to me as far as songs go, we're missing some of the funk from the 80s because Rick James in the 80s.
Oh, super.
Come on,
Give it to me.
Rick James in the 80s, and
Yeah.
then you had Lakeside in the 80s, and you had Oh, in the end of the '80s into the early '90s, but at the end of the '80s they came out full force,
Oh, Lisa.
full force, and then full force and Lisa,
Lisa and
and all
Cult
that
Jam
full
all
force.
cried out. Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
Oh, God, yeah.
I saw Lisa in concert in the '80s,
Well,
and one of her band members tried to pick up my date.
again,
One of her
the
band members,
subtext of it seems all our shows is now becoming your love life or lack thereof. Um,
lack thereof.
oh, you
But
know what? I
Lisa,
remember in the '80s there was one concert we were supposed to go see at the what's the place in King of Prussia? There was
um,
a theater and around, I think.
yeah, the Robin Hood was that. That wasn't the Robin Hood Dell.
No,
That
not
was
the Robin Hood Dell.
um. I
I,
know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
okay, but we were supposed to go see Luther Vandross, and opening
We
up
did
for
see
him
him.
was DeBarge. And at the
We did see him.
time,
Wow.
you know, I was all about DeBarge, and oh my God, just love me
No,
some
we
DeBarge.
did see Luther Vandross around. We saw Luther Vandross
I
around.
know, but DeBarge was supposed to open up, but they announced earlier that day that they wouldn't be there. Later on, we
Oh,
found
yes,
out the
right.
reason why is some of the, again, problems they were having with addiction and drugs and uh, just
Love me
their
in a special
I'm
way.
still talking, Kenny.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Just their family story was one of the first BET behind the musics that they did, and just really pretty tragic because they had older
Yeah,
brothers who were part of a R&B group called Switch that
switch
had some, I mean, probably
addiction
the
problems,
definitive
and then
songs in my like eighth grade year. I think I had my
yes.
first slow dance to a Switch song, "They'll Never Be." So it's
Oh wow.
yeah,
Yes,
I'm
they'll
taking you
never
that far
be.
back. But in any case, but
Wow.
yeah, the barge was supposed to open up and they didn't come, but they had this other woman and I can't remember her name, but I do remember her hit song was called Morning. It's morning. And that's all I remember.
No,
And
I don't
actually, when
remember
she
that.
performed, she
Yeah.
sang that song at the beginning of her set and at the end of her set because that was her one hit. But
Yeah,
then we
well,
had Luther, and
yeah, Luther put. I
there's nothing
remember
better than
that.
Luther. So
Yeah, Luther put on a really good show. I remember that.
yeah,
And we got good Luther because we got fat Luther.
that's just mean.
That is wrong.
Well,
Okay, so it was
it was
called Valley Forge. Okay,
The
Valley
Valley
Forge
Forge.
Music Fair.
Oh, the
That's
Valley
right?
Forge
Valley
Music.
Forge
Yeah.
Music
Tiffany
Fair.
and Debbie
Okay,
Right.
yeah.
Gibson. Tiffany and Debbie
Oh,
Gibson.
Tiffany and
I
Right.
Debbie
think we're alone
Gibson.
now, which was a remake.
I saw Debbie Gibson in concert twice.
Wow.
Twice. Not once, but twice. Oh my
Wow,
goodness. I
twice, and
loved her back then.
you're admitting that
Yeah, I loved
too.
her. And I'm admitting it. Absolutely. I'm not saying I would admit it now, but yeah, I mean, I was big with Debbie Gibson.
That's right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and
I can't believe you just brought Patty.
Ed has his
Uh,
receipts. Ed has his picture of
yeah.
Debbie Gibson. He is still a
Oh,
fan.
I had her
I
posted
think
all over the wall in college.
Kenny, we're gonna have to go on Cameo and get Debbie Gibson to send Ed a message. Cause
yeah, we're gonna have to do that.
I met her. It's all good.
oh wow, oh that's
Yeah,
cool.
well, Ed, you know what? You can't do that, man, because Ed meets these celebrities, man. Ed's got
Yeah.
tons of pictures of different celebrities that he meets.
Yeah, I got
Ed
one
is
with Debbie Gibson up there somewhere. So
yeah.
yeah.
Ed meets these celebrities. You know what 80s celebrity I met and had a few nice conversations with her because
Patty.
she used to come into my store when I worked at Wilson's Leather in the 80s. She used to come into my store and hang out. Um, Jay Starlin
Oh, Pretty Poison.
from Pretty Poison, yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
they were a
And
Philadelphia area group, weren't they?
yeah, and
Yeah.
she came one time. She came to my store. She would always come and talk to me, and she gave me tickets to one of her shows.
Wow,
And
that's awesome.
she got me backstage. She got not backstage, but she got me into one of her shows when she was performing. and also there's a lot of other '80s groups performing, and one of them was Diggable Planets.
Eagle Planet. Ooh, I
Diggable,
don't know that.
cool like that. I'm cool
Cool
like
like
that.
that.
I'm cool like that. I'm in like that because I swing like that. hmm So I got to do that. But in any event,
There
you
was
know,
another group from the Philadelphia area that had a hit, like a one-hit wonder in the 80s. And I think about them because I was in the store the other day and I heard their song, and that was New Shoes, I
I
Can't
can't
Wait.
wait.
oh, I
Yeah,
can't wait. Yes, yes, yes.
yeah.
And they were a Philadelphia band, but I love that little ditty.
I didn't know they were Philly. How about that? Yeah, that's great.
Um,
And you know
Dion's
what?
comment.
I also, there was another band from the 80s that had, I guess, they were more, excuse me, more pop hits. But the thing that I remember most about them is, or not that they had anything to do with it, but when I lived in Brooklyn, when I lived in Brooklyn Heights, which was a little, but I was in the store, like, the local corner grocery store, and the music, usually the music they pipe in, which is like, some
Oh,
wonky
yeah,
version of, the Pina
yeah,
Colada song. But instead,
yeah.
in this store, they had music that was Situation by Yaz.
Oh
Remember
my goodness,
Yaz?
upstairs with Eric.
Oh,
No, I
oh,
dress
That's
for
one of
I
my
am
every
that's
a
a great
bad
situation.
album.
situation.
Hmm.
Oh, that was the band upstairs at
I think
Eric's.
I think I think one of the
That's right.
things
If you need
I
a
think one of
primer on the 80s, you need to get Tears for Fears, Songs from the Big Chair, upstairs at Eric's, and Rattle and Hum by you two, and you're good.
Yeah.
I think one of the things the '80s should be noted for.
Is it raining somewhere? Because I hear rain.
No, one
You
of the
talking
things
about
the
Orange
'80s.
Juice Jones?
Oh,
Oh, that's here.
Orange Juice Jones in the rain?
aren't you shows? Get out of
In
here!
the
No, no,
rain?
no, no, no! Don't go
Orange
looking at that
Juice
closet.
Jones.
Don't go looking at that
Hey,
closet because
that's
everything you
here.
came with
Oh,
is right packed up next to the door.
it's raining here.
So,
I'm like, I'm
so,
hearing
so,
rain in my
so,
headphones.
yeah, I miss you so much.
Stevie
I
Nicks.
followed you today. I
Hmm?
followed
Stevie
you
Nicks.
today.
Wow. Yeah.
Stevie Nicks. Oh my God.
It's like the
For
meme.
years,
It's,
people, I thought she was saying just like the Long Ranger. That's what I used to
wow,
sing at the top of my lungs. Stevie
wow.
Nicks, Belladonna. Oh,
Um.
Ed, do you have the vinyl?
I'm
Oh,
just
Ed
kind of
has
going
the
for some
vinyl.
old
Oh,
Sweet,
Ed got
classics.
sweet
the
vinyl.
vinyl.
I've
No,
got
no, no, no,
vinyl out.
no.
I know Kenny was talking about Heartbreak Beat earlier. This is
Oh,
from the Psychedelic
psychedelic
Furs.
furs.
Yes,
The
yes.
Habit
Oh,
I
he's
Fiddle.
got
think
receipts.
the psychedelic furs. Look at that. There's a heartbreak beat, and it feels like love. See, Captain, not here
And
doing it right now, so I can
what
say
I'd like
that.
to do is take a couple seconds just to look at some soundtracks. Let's not forget Footloose was a great soundtrack.
Oh
You know,
yes,
there's a lot
yes,
of pop.
yes.
You're gonna laugh at me on this one, but it was still a great soundtrack. The Karate Kid.
Okay, okay. I'm
Can't
not
knock
gonna laugh
that.
at you that now, because I was gonna wear my Cobra Kai shirt.
Here's another one. Breaking Electric Boogaloo
Oh my God!
from 1984.
Break it!
Holly and Jerry Ain't No Stopping was a great song.
Ain't no stopping us.
I would
No
highly
stopping.
recommend this. It's called The Last American Virgin.
I want pop. You got me
This
pop
featured
locking.
this featured Quincy Jones, James Ingram, U2, and a lot of other good bands. And of course Vision Quest, which had Madonna, Journey, Sammy Hagar,
Wow!
Lunatic
Wow!
Fringe.
Vision
So
Quest.
Wow!
there's a lot, and I got more. I just don't have a chance to go through them all.
All right. So
Um,
Straight up.
Paula
Paula Abdul.
Abdul. Okay, you know
Wow.
what?
It's just
Oh,
the way
oh,
that you love
wait,
me.
wait,
Oh
wait,
my
wait.
goodness.
Take me off.
Karen White, The Way You Love Me.
Oh, I
The
love
Other
that
Way You
song.
Love Me.
Yeah.
Okay, hey, I pulled some of the vinyl, so it's the vinyl pull time.
And what do we got there?
Oh wait, hold on. Let me
Oh, is
pull
that
Kenny
Kenny
off for a
G?
minute. Kenny G,
Yeah.
Songbird,
Wow.
the 12-inch. We don't get 12 inches
Wow.
anymore.
I love 12 inches. Half of my collection is 12 inches as far as vinyl goes.
Oh yeah.
When you look it up in the background, Bow Wow Wow, Tarzan Boy by Baltimore,
Oh,
all of it
oh,
is 12 inches. I've
Baltimore.
got punk music by M, Wang Chung, Dance All Days. I mean, you got just a ton of it.
Oh my God. Oh my goodness. Talk about the 80s. Janet
Wow.
Jackson.
That might be, she might be, you know what? As far as 80s goes, I think she's an icon. I mean,
Okay,
she
all right.
really,
I found it. I found the piece of vinyl, as Gary Delabate would say. That was definitive 80s.
is that born in the USA?
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, I was going to pull that out too. Yeah,
Oh
that's
my
awesome.
goodness. The boss, Bruce Springsteen, born in the
Yeah.
USA, cover me. Oh my God, I'm on
Yeah.
fire. Oh man. I'm going down. Glory days. And of course, dancing in the dark. Oh,
Born
that's a
in the
good piece
USA,
of
the song
vinyl.
itself is awesome.
Oh my God.
I
And
mean, my
see, here
gosh.
is what we don't get anymore, people. This is what I miss. Liner notes.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't see
Liner
that anymore.
notes.
I used to love them because they had all the lyrics on them. You know,
Yes.
you would get
Liner notes
lyrics
with
as well.
lyrics. Oh, Kenny,
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? You guys are doing
what's
this,
your
and you,
80s vinyl pull?
I, um,
Oh my God.
Prince,
Yes.
because this has Raspberry Beret on it.
Yes. Raspberry Beret. Right.
This has Raspberry Beret on it.
Oh God, my
And look
Bruce
at that. All
Springsteen lyric sheet. Yeah.
Lyrics. Lyrics rock.
lyrics, all the Prince song lyrics. Is this 80s? Hold on. I had it here.
Oh, Dion, I agree. Black Cat was the jam. Now, Miss You Much, I kind of like that song because back in the 80s when I
Tina
did
Marie.
stand-up
Oh my
comedy,
goodness.
actually I did it more in the early
Team
90s,
Marie,
but I actually
80s.
did I did a parody of Miss You Much. Oh, Lips to Find You. Oh, you go, boy. And you
Tina
know what? I
Marie.
like that one because the corner is cut off. So that's the equivalent of the black mark that you find in those discount books of Barnes and Noble when they cut the corner off. So we know you got that on sale.
Oh yeah,
Here's
I got that.
here's what got me into 80s
Yes,
music.
the Go-Go's and the Bangles. We talked a little bit about them
Excuse
last
me.
week. Oh,
What is
This
that?
is what actually got me into 80s music. It was Rio by Duran Duran. And I'm going to tell you what,
Oh,
we talked earlier about, the influences and how MTV with the videos. My friend a long time ago showed me Rio. He said, Ed, you got to check out this video. And it was Rio. The minute I watched it, I was hooked. I mean, I just thought it was the coolest thing. A step to your left and a flip to the right. I just, after that, I mean, I've been a Duran Duran fan since 1982, and I'm going to tell you what, I've seen them 5 times in concert, and
wow.
every
I
time it's
think I've
been
only seen
great.
them once.
And I'm going to tell you what, you will not. It's not a waste of money. Go see them. Usually, the opening act is dynamite.
Wow.
I like you.
About
Hey
4 years
guys,
ago,
I see your Duran Duran, and I raise you.
What is that?
This is a.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh
Milli
no!
Vanilli.
Oh no! Oh no! No,
That's
she
a
did
fake.
not.
They had some great hits. I know they
No,
were
she
fake,
did not.
You know
but they
what?
had
She did
great
not.
hits.
She
Hey,
did not.
you
molest
know
Milli
what?
Vanilli.
They
Actually,
were awesome.
and here's what I say. Again, for the folks who were burning their albums because it wasn't them singing, you know what? You
I
should
don't
be
care.
mad at yourselves if you were just buying the look. But the actual musicians and singers were uh, real performers and seasoned musicians and singers who are usually singing in the background. So the music itself, hey, the music was on point.
It was
Now,
great.
if you
Blame it
just
on the
brought it
rain.
to what it looked like, well, that's your problem. But
Yeah.
girl, you know it's true.
Girl, you know it's true.
Don't forget my
And
number.
as it turned out, it wasn't true. Oh, yes. Oh, Bananarama, Cruel Summer, Venus.
Oh my God.
Robert De
yes.
Niro's Waiting.
Yes.
That is total 80s.
Let's not forget about Culture Club, which was big in the 80s.
Oh, yes.
Huge band.
Culture Club.
Culture
Yeah.
Club.
Totally tumble for you.
You know what I like?
Yes.
Church of the Poison Mind.
Yes.
You had just brought up who I was going to bring up, which is Bananarama. And this contains Cruel Summer, Robert De Niro Waiting, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Wildlife, great stuff.
Oh, look what I found. Jody Watley.
Oh, wow.
From
Jody
Shalimar.
Watley. Jody Watley. Oh, my
Kitty,
goodness.
here, you mentioned Rick James. I have the Rick James collection.
Oh, wow. You got that on vinyl. Wow.
I got it on vinyl.
Hey,
Mickey, that is classic 80s.
Oh, my God.
In the one-hit wonder department.
One-hit wonder
definitely.
category.
Oh, you know what? And we didn't talk Whitney Houston. Whitney Houston definitely, I think I have.
What TV show made Whitney Houston
vinyl? I used to have racks and racks of vinyl, and again, a lot of it warped and lost in the flood, and again, in my travels, because I went to New York and left the vinyl.
What TV show did Whitney Houston make her debut on?
Whitney Houston's debut album. Oh,
No.
What TV show?
What
TV show?
And I don't know if it was her debut, but it made her popular. No.
Star Search?
You're gonna be surprised with this one.
Star Search?
Nope. It was a sitcom.
Fresh Prince?
No, this was like 84, 85, 86.
84, 85. Facts of Life? No.
That's close.
Or Different
No.
Strokes?
Nope.
Different Strokes?
No, but you're still close. You're in the right area.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, this is one you're probably not going to think of. Is there anybody out there that can think of this?
Anybody out
Come
there?
on, guys.
No. Hey, if you get the right answer
She's
before
done
it
Saving
says
All
it,
My
we're
Love
giving
for
you
You.
a pop culture T-shirt. No cheating.
Saving All My Love for You was the big song on
Family
the
Matters?
TV show.
Family
What's that?
Matters? Family
Nope.
Matters.
Nope.
No. Well, I said Different Strokes.
Nope.
And Facts of Life, but he said that was close. So I'm thinking
It
it was
was close,
somewhere in
kind
that
of.
family.
Kind of like similar to that.
Okay.
Family Ties.
No.
No.
Saving All My Love for You. They played it on TV, and then it exploded.
Let us know,
no
Ed, because
offense
I
to
have a
Family
feeling they're going to
Ties.
start Googling it. So
Yeah,
go ahead.
no offense to Family Ties, but I don't think there was any black people on that anyway. But go ahead.
Let's see. It wasn't Saturday Night Live.
It wasn't Saturday Night Live.
And
This
she
was
might
a
have appeared
sitcom.
on these shows, but her first
Sure.
like
Was it the
acting
show? Was it the show with Alan Thicke?
No.
that was Family Ties.
No, that
I will
wasn't
tell
Alan
you a person that was on this show, and this will give it away. Ricky Schroeder.
Oh, so I was in the right ballpark. I can't think of the name of that show with Ricky Schroeder.
Oh, what was he?
Silver Spoon.
Silver
Spoon.
Spoon.
Ah.
Yep.
You know who else was starting Silver Spoons? Erin Gray. And I met her one time at one of the Comic Cons.
I met her too. She was awesome.
She was the nicest person you ever want to meet.
She was.
She was so sweet.
Pretty poison. Catch me if I'm falling. Yeah.
Pretty Poison.
Yeah, catch her about that. Jay Starlin, I used to know her back in the day. She used to come to my store and shop for leather jackets, and she gave me the tickets to come to one of her shows.
Oh, this was my 12-inch
collection.
collection.
Yeah.
Oh my God! And of course the Queen. There you go.
Madonna. You know what my favorite Madonna song is? Like a Prayer. I'm pretty sure that's 90s, but Like a Prayer is my
No,
favorite
like a
Madonna
bird,
song.
all the way.
Like a
This is
Like a
pretty
Prayer,
prayer.
close.
Like a Prayer is 80s.
Like a prayer,
How about
definitely.
this one? Remember her from the 80s?
Oh,
Oh my goodness.
I am still in love with Vanessa Williams. I am still in
Oh,
love with
Billy
Vanessa Williams.
Oh,
Underdale,
it's a nice day for
Oh
a white
right?
wedding.
no.
Wedding.
No,
Definitely.
no.
Billy Idol.
My Billy Idol song is "To Be a Lover." Forgot to be a lover.
Yes,
Have
to be
mercy,
a lover.
have mercy.
Oh,
To be
man.
a lover
I'm
is
going
my
to have to
80s
get
song.
a. Okay. Oh, oh, yes. That first Cyndi Lauper album. Oh, my God.
She's so unusual. Part of the rock and
Now,
wrestling connection.
All right. Okay,
okay, now I want
here's
to move
one for the
on.
One Hit Wonder Club.
I say it.
Escape
Wild Wild
song.
West.
Now
Didn't
that
they
is
all?
80s. The Wild Wild
Didn't they also
West.
have Red Wine?
No, that was UB40.
That was UB40.
Mhm.
That's right.
You're
Okay,
UB40.
right.
now I want
That
to
You're
move
right.
on. I want to move on because
Okay,
we
I'm
missed a
sorry.
couple. I want to move on to
But I just
the
found my
best
Kylie
80.
Minogue. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
I should be so lucky.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Okay, I want to move on to the best 80s music moments. And
Ooh.
I have a couple of these. That's why I want to move on to this. One of my best 80s music moments is when MTV premiered a video of Run DMC and Aerosmith Walk This Way.
Oh my God. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
that was a because
That was
when
breakthrough.
when you put Aerosmith and Run DMC together and
Oh,
Billy
she's from
Joel,
the kind of restaurant.
when I know
I'm sorry.
Kathy, we're not doing that anymore.
Okay.
Okay,
But I
slow down,
found.
slow down.
I'm sorry.
We're on our music moments now.
But
Um.
I also found my 45s.
Okay. No,
Don't worry,
Kathy.
be happy.
We're moving on to music
Body
moments now.
burn.
We're moving on to music moments. Okay. Okay.
Gloria
Wow.
Estefan and the Miami Sound Machine. That is a music moment.
Ed,
I
Yes,
wonder,
it
is there a
is.
spider in here?
We've lost Kathy.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We've lost.
Okay, okay, you move on. I'm gonna go be alone with my vinyl for a moment.
Guys,
Okay.
I'm sorry, but
So
I gotta share this. This is the 12-inch of Band-Aid. Do they know it's Christmas? I'm sorry, but 12-inch, the extended version of Do They Know It's Christmas? This is huge.
Kathy, come back. Kathy, come back. Come back. Come back.
Kathy, I'm just gonna be putting albums up if you don't.
That is choice. Oh my gosh, I am in a world
Okay.
now. I gotta get a record player.
I want to ask you guys a question.
Huh?
How is it? How is it tonight
Oh, it scorns me.
that I'm the only one that's trying to stay focused here? Like this is not normal.
But that's the 12-inch of the Band-Aid. Do they
I
know it's
know.
Christmas?
I understand
That's
that.
classic.
Try and find that anywhere. You can't.
Okay. Why am I the one trying to stay the script and stay normal? Why am I the only one? Like usually I'm the one
Oh
that's
my
going off
gosh.
script.
We will rock you.
Oh, God. Okay, you know what? Take me off. Take me off.
Oh,
No, sis.
it's in the original folders. Look at this.
All
I got
mines are
little
original
Oh
with
my
sleeves.
God.
plastic, most of them.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
No, Dawn, she's not done. She's not done, Dawn.
Okay, here you
Good
go.
fortune. Awesome.
Talking 80s. Look what I got for $1.79.
What is that?
Oh my God. Young Turks? Yes. Yes.
Turks, Rod Stewart. Okay, you know what? And
I borrowed this album 30 some years ago from a friend, never returned it.
Patty.
I feel bad. A long time ago. It's just seven in the rag tiger for Duran Duran.
Oh
I hope you're
man.
not looking at this. But you
We
know
are
what?
in a
Thank you,
zone
Katie.
right now.
They're
Oh my
Really,
goodness.
killing me.
we
They're killing me.
apologize, but
They're killing
I
me.
mean,
They're killing me.
guys, if you break out your
Um,
vinyl, if we're talking the 80s,
what's
whoop
that?
whoop. Oh,
The
we,
time,
Oh.
Jungle Love.
Morris Day and the effing time. Oh my God, yes. Yes.
Hold on for a minute.
Man,
Jungle Love.
hey, here's one
Watch
from
out.
1981, peoples. 1981.
Oh my goodness. That was like the number one hit for like 5 or
Start
6
me
weeks
up.
in a row.
Start me
Start
up.
me up.
And again,
If
one
you
of the
start
things
me
I
up,
loved about the 80s is I think
you start me
musically it
up,
opened my
I'll
world
never
up
stop.
because I only listened to WDAS, so I was
Guys,
only hearing a lot of R&B and soul. But because of MTV, because of the videos, because of music being a part of movies and TV shows, it
yeah.
just opened the world of music up, and I learned that there were
Remember,
all these
remember on TV they had the K-Tel albums?
Oh yes, the compilations.
Here is a K-Tel album. Look at that lineup. And it is awesome.
Oh, Cool in the Gang, Carol
Jump to it,
King,
Mickey. Let's go dancing.
Evelyn King,
Oh,
Evelyn Champagne King. Oh, look at you.
forget me nots.
And I think I went in the room to
Get
get
me
my
out.
vinyl, but I thought I saw. Did you break out some Tony Basil at some point? Oh, Mickey.
Oh,
Yes, you
yeah,
did.
that-
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Oh yes, Dawn. We were all over the Prince train earlier. We've been riding this '80s music.
Yeah.
Although
Okay, Dawn.
it's Ed's fault. Ed brought out
I'm a
vinyl,
big.
so he
I'm a
made me go
big.
get my vinyl.
I'm a big Prince fan, so of course we pulled out Prince stuff because Prince was very phenomenal in the '80s
This
and
was for
showing.
Kathy.
Ah yes.
Hey, Kathy,
This
Oh,
was a
Mickey,
Kathy,
you're
12
so
inch.
fine. You're so fine.
Good
know-
luck in
I know-
finding it.
I know we're towards the end of the show, but we're having so much fun. Make sure you
Oh,
put the
Kenny,
number.
you'll appreciate this.
Make sure you put the phone number up again in case anybody wants to call in.
Okay, because my phone is beeping and I might. Okay, let's give you the number. Okay. Actually, this is my phone, but it's not. I have to go. So you guys talk. I'll be right back.
Okay, so we're going to talk about '80s music moments right now, and big music moments in the '80s. And there's two things I want to say about this, Ed. Um, One of the music moments I want to say is, like I mentioned before, when MTV showed the video of Run DMC and Aerosmith. That's a big music moment because you were able to get two genres of music together. And back
Sure.
then, I didn't know about rock, and a lot of my friends, a lot of people I knew in high school, I went to a mixed school in high school, didn't know
Me
about
too.
rap and things like that, and it got the chance for the music to mix together, and people know. Another '80s moment I want to bring up it has to do with MTV. David Bowie at one time questioned MTV about why they don't play. At first, MTV only played pop and rock. That's all they played. And David Bowie was the actual person who questioned MTV about why they don't play more R&B and more
Right.
black artists. He
Wow.
was the one person, and I forgot who he had the conversation with. It was a DJ with the white guy with the fuzzy hair. I forgot who it was. I forgot his name.
Mark
But
Summers?
yes, he had a conversation with him, and David Bowie asked, why aren't you playing these artists, these R&B artists and these black artists? They're very influential, and he really didn't have a good answer. His only answer was, "Well, we didn't think that was marketable." And like his answer was not good. Like he didn't know why the higher up execs didn't want to display the R&B music and everything. But David Bowie was a champion for this, and this is another reason why I say in the contest in the verses between David Bowie and Elton John, David Bowie would win just because he championed the cause to get black music played on MTV.
One more thing about David Bowie. I mean, I don't know if you know this or not, but he did a lot of work with Nile Rodgers, who I believe did Let's Dance. I know he did a lot of work.
Now Rogers is part of the group called Chic.
Yes, he did. As a matter of fact, when I last saw Duran Duran, Nile Rodgers opened for them. So they played Le Freak, they played Let's Dance. Nile Rodgers was almost. I mean, I could say I saw two concerts for the price of one. Nile Rodgers was that good.
Wow.
Yes. Now Roger
Okay.
that good.
So I
And
can see why
yeah,
Bowie would be a champion for that because it makes sense. Nile Rodgers was a genius at what he
yes,
did.
exactly. And I like Dion's question there. Dion's answer there. Her comment rather. His answer was very corporate when David Bowie pressed them about why they're not playing the black
Probably,
artists
yeah.
and the black
I
music.
can
His
see that.
answer, the VJ's answer was very corporate. Um, and that, and then after that, they did the MTV raps, and then they started playing Michael
Right.
Jackson. They started playing Prince. They started playing all the other, and then they had a time slot
Yeah.
where they played the black and R&B and stuff, and they played the artists and all of that. But there was a market out there for it that they weren't touching on MTV, and I think one of the things that helped them touch that market was the Aerosmith Run DMC
Yeah.
collaboration.
I agree with that. I think once he asked that question, you saw groups like Cameo coming, DeBarge or El DeBarge. I'm not really sure. I always get confused between the two. And I know that there was one lady at the end of the 80s that had a hit. It was only a one hit wonder, but it was one of my favorite songs of the 80s. And, I would put this in the top five of the 80s. It was called Buffalo Stance by Nia Cherry.
Oh,
And
Nina
I
Cherry
think
is yeah. Nina Cherry is
I
not
think
a
she's
one hit.
amazing.
She's a one hit wonder on the pop scene.
Right,
But Nina
right.
Cherry is very like an R&B scene and underground scene. Nina Cherry is very like is very
Agreed.
respected and very known.
Yeah, I agree with
Um,
that.
but yeah, I know what you're talking about. Buffalo Stance. We want to get in the Buffalo Stance.
Right.
Yes, Nina
And
Cherry.
I think that's one of the best songs from the 80s. I really do.
Yeah. Well, I think in the '80s too, the late '80s. I think Full Force, because I remember being in college on the radio
Force,
station
right.
and playing a lot of Full Force. I
Yeah.
love Full Force. Alice, I want you just for me. Because in high school, I had a girlfriend
Yeah.
named Alice. I had a girlfriend named Alice.
So it was like emotional for you.
It was very
Hey,
emotional,
may I
and
have
she
some lactose
Yeah.
relationships?
she dumped me 3 days before the prom.
Right.
Here's another great one from the 80s. It's called Supersonic by JJ Fad.
Oh my God, Supersonic! Oh,
So,
Supersonic!
you got me thinking about it. As Patty has there, Culture Club. Let's think of Church of the Poison Mind, Miss You, Karmic Chameleon, The War Song. Culture Club
Oh,
was huge back. I would think more in the early 80s than they were in the later 80s, but
oh,
they were a
definitely.
big influence.
You know who we didn't mention for the '80s who I
Yeah.
think is a big influence. Frankie Goes to Hollywood.
They have Relax.
Relax.
Yep.
I actually saw Frankie Goes to Hollywood.
Two tribes
Oh,
go to war. And,
Welcome to the Pleasure Dome.
yes,
Yes.
and Relax, of
Frankie
course,
say
is the ultimate.
relax.
Relax. What movie was Relax in, guys?
Oh, that was in several movies, wasn't it? Oh no,
Wow.
I'm thinking of Oh Yeah by Yellow. Um,
Oh
also
yeah, by
Ferris.
Yellow was Ferris Bueller.
Yes, and it was also
Yeah.
in
Oh yeah.
what was the scene where they're jumping from bedroom to bedroom? Secret of My Success. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Thinking about it, yeah. No, I think Relax was in was it the Ted Danson one? Body Double? What Ted Danson was in? Body Double? Or
Body
I
double.
know, I know,
Body double?
I know. Relax was in another movie. Relax was in a movie. I know it was.
Okay.
Was it Natalie Wood's last movie or something like that?
Her last movie was Brainstorm, but I don't remember Relax. But
Yeah,
yeah.
I know Relax was in a movie, but in any event, and you know what? You can't talk about the '80s without talking about general public tenderness.
For sure.
Oh, definitely, definitely. I love some general public tenderness.
Okay,
But
so
you know
the next
what?
stop.
But
All
you
right.
know what?
They
I mean,
actually, Frankie Goes to Hollywood. Uh, well, Welcome to Pleasure Dome was in Wonder Woman '84. Actually, I was just looking at the IMDb to
oh,
see
okay. I didn't know
where
that.
that song might have been featured, and I'm trying to see. I don't see Relax in here in the '80s, but let me go down because I'm still in the
Ralph would have
2000s.
been like
It was
84.
in Body Double. Relax was in Body Double, Kenny, from
Was it Body
1984.
Double? But that
Right,
wasn't
right,
that wasn't Ted
right.
Danson.
That wasn't Ted Danson though. Is
Okay,
was
I
it
thought
Right.
that
John
this was,
Hurt or
yeah, maybe it
William
was,
Hurt?
yeah, yeah, maybe it could have been. It could have been. It could have been.
You could have a show based on one hit wonders from the 80s just alone. You've got Say Elmo's Fire, You Spin Me Round, Don't Worry, Be Happy, Video Killed a Radio Star, Our House by Madness, Somebody's Watching Me by Rockwell, You Spin Me Round like a record, like Dead
Oh,
Alive.
you spin me right
You know,
round, baby. I'm sorry, I'm
real
Somebody's
buzzing
good.
myself because
watching
I know I shouldn't be singing.
me, and ain't no fancy. And Michael
Yeah,
Jackson singing backup on "Somebody's Watching Me" by Rockwell is classic,
Rockwell. Oh, that's right.
classic,
yeah,
classic, classic,
that's
King of
right.
the one hit wonders.
Yes, yes. King of the One of the Wonders is Rockwell. You know, when I go home at night.
Uh, well, if your dad owns the record label, you should at least have one hit. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
kind of
That's
the rule of
true.
thumb.
You should. You should. Weird Science. Thank you, Dion, for that
Oh,
80s movie reference. Weird Science. Weird
definitely.
Science.
Oingo
Boingo
Boingo.
Boingo, who also had a hit.
Boingo Boingo had a couple of
They
hits.
weren't one hit
Yes,
Just
Oingo
wonders
notable.
though,
Boingo. Yes,
because they
Oingo
did.
Boingo.
Um, oh, I hated that song. But oh no, you know what
Falco.
song I hated in the '80s? One
Amadeus.
Night in Bangkok.
I love One
Oh,
Night in
Mary Head.
Bangkok.
Oh, that was
I
awesome.
love One Night. I love One Night in Bangkok. One Night
Agreed.
in
Kenny's
Bangkok
right.
with a star, humble.
Let's not forget
One
about
Night
Too
in Bangkok.
Shy. I ran.
Oh,
Oh, too
Kajagoogoo.
shy, shy, hush, hush,
Oh, what's the one? Oh,
I.
aha. Take
Take
on
on
me.
me.
Take
That's one of the
on
best videos from the
me.
80s.
Is that not one of the best videos, the most creative
8675309.
videos?
Tainted Love. I melt with you.
Tainted Love. Baby, where
I
did our
melt with
love
you.
go?
And I dream.
Why, Kenny?
Oof.
Why?
Oh,
Why are you doing that?
I
oh
like, you know
mom.
what?
You
Hey,
know what? Our
Dion,
viewership just went down to 2.
Dion, thank you for reminding me of Amadeus. I'm gonna go on my Spotify after the show and put
I
Amadeus
know we're gonna have to
on my
go to
link
Spotify.
because Amadeus,
REO
Amadeus,
Speedwagon. Oh
Amadeus,
my
Amadeus,
goodness.
Amadeus.
We could be in the '80s rabbit hole all night. You know that, guys.
Oh my
Sure.
God, oh my God. Hey, you know what? But we would be remiss if we didn't realize that we built the city on rock and roll.
Oh my! You know what?
We
That's
built the
going to go
city.
down into that like dad joke Hall of Fame or something. What
Yeah,
is
yeah.
that?
We built the city on rock and roll.
Right.
That
And
was
don't
that
forget there was a lot of
Jefferson. That was Jefferson Starship because that was the '80s. Because
I
in
know that was Jefferson
the
Starship. It wasn't
'70s, it
Orange
was
Sleeve.
Jefferson Airplane, correct?
Yeah. In the 70s, definitely airplane.
yeah.
But then in the 80s, it was Jefferson Starship and Grace Slick, who came out with a memoir later on, who says that all the wild, that Grace Slick doesn't look like Grace Slick anymore, really. Like, I think
Now I
what
know
she did in the
somebody
70s,
mentioned Stevie Nicks
in the
earlier,
60s and
but
70s caught
again,
up with
Fleetwood
her.
Mac and the hits they had in the '80s as well. But
I want
Belladonna
to say
was
this.
just such
I
an
want to say
excellent album.
what male in the 80s did not have a crush on Stevie Nicks? Because I if you didn't have
Fair
a
enough.
crush, and if you didn't have a crush on Stevie Nicks, there was something wrong with you, really.
So Kenny, did we hit all of your topics?
No, we didn't hit 80s music that affected the world, because I was going to talk about Live Aid and Band
Yeah.
Aid and everything else, but
USA for Africa.
Yeah, we are the world, and I know we
Yeah.
talked a little bit about that.
I'm going to save Sun City.
Sun
Yeah.
City, yeah.
Oh, that was a great song.
Ain't gonna
And you
play
know what?
Sun
There was
City.
also um, a song that was put together when they were trying to pass Martin Luther King Day as a holiday, written by
Oh, Stevie Wonder. Yes.
Stevie Wonder. Uh, Sing Holiday for a King, and they had a bunch of artists singing on that song. And you know what? Right before there was one, and I'm pretty sure it might have been the 90s and not the 80s. I could be wrong. But I remember there was another kind of anti-war song that featured a lot of different performers, and I think it was before there was some military action we were about to take, and I remember a lot of different performers being a part of that, including, well, you know what? It was Lenny Kravitz and some other
Oh,
artists.
right.
That probably
Right.
was more 90s, though. Sorry. But there was a lot of music in the 80s that did make a difference. And oh my goodness, I cannot believe we did not mention this 80s artist. What were we thinking? Never going to give him up, never going to let him down, never going to turn around and hurt you. He was the man. Uh-oh, I don't know what happened to Kenny.
Absolutely. I mean,
Uh,
there's so much music you could think about. I mean, think about the movie stars that had some hits. Party All the Time by Eddie Murphy. Respect Yourself
yes.
by Bruce Willis. I mean, there's a
Oh,
lot
Bruce Willis, he
there.
had a whole album, right?
Yeah, yeah.
What was his
You
hit,
know, I
though?
mean,
He had a hit,
it was
though.
called Respect Yourself.
Respect Yourself. That's
It
right.
was called Respect Yourself. I mean, I wasn't a big fan of it. I mean, I liked Party All the Time by Eddie Murphy a lot more because I mean, it was so catchy and Eddie Murphy. I mean, back then, I mean, who was hotter than Eddie Murphy back in the '80s as far as
Oh,
Saturday Night Live goes? You know?
and the Beverly Hills Cops movies just like shot
Oh
him
my
like
gosh,
over
Axel
the
Foley.
top.
You want to talk about a great soundtrack? That's a great soundtrack.
What's the instrumental? Axel F. I
Axel
can't think of
F.
it.
Right.
Yes. Uh, Axel F. Uh, yeah, there were a lot of great songs on that one. Um, and you know what? When you think about the 80s too, I think the soundtrack from
Harold
like Top
Faltmeyer.
Gun, there were just
Harold
some
Faltmeyer
soundtracks
was
that were
Axel
just
F.
packed with hits.
Oh, Top Gun for sure. Yeah, Take My Breath Away.
Take-
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Um, wait, and I'm thinking also Footloose too had quite a few hits on it too.
What?
In addition to the Kenny Loggins hit, you also had like Let's Hear It for the Boy and
Oh yeah,
oh,
yeah.
again, you
For sure.
got the receipts.
You
Ed
know,
has
I still
got
have
the
the receipts. It's
receipts.
like I still have the plastic on the vinyl. You know,
Wow,
I
original
would,
plastic.
I believe, try and take care of them, keep the plastic on them. That's another layer of protection. But they had Almost Paradise from that soundtrack. Mike
Almost
Reno and Ann
Paradise.
Wilson.
That's right. Oh,
Let's
you
hear
know
it
what?
for the police.
Another hit of the 80s, and again, I don't know how this counts, but Dirty Dancing, that
Oh
was
my
an
goodness,
80s. And again, even though it was music from a different era, you also
it was so
had like
popular. Yeah,
hits from Patrick Swayze. She's
she's
like
like
the
the wind.
wind.
She's like
Yeah.
the wind.
Oh my goodness, she's like the wind.
Did you guys talk about Rick Ashley?
Yeah.
We, well, oh yeah, never gonna give him up.
Well, no, you know what Rick
Uh,
Ashley song I love? Cry for Help.
cry for help. I don't even know that one. Please don't
Rick
sing it though.
Astley, Cry
Thank you.
for Help. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? We forgot Rick Springfield.
Yes.
Oh, Jesse's Girl.
Wow.
I wish I had Jesse's girl.
Classic.
I've done
Oh, and did
everything
we
for
mention
you.
Tommy Tune? 8675309.
Tommy Tuco, yep.
Tommy Tune.
8675309.
8-6.
There's
Well,
just so much.
there's so like the time. The time had 7779311.
Oh, Rick
The time had
Springfield
Jungle
second
Love
concert.
also.
Try.
Remember Jungle Love?
Yeah, well,
Jungle
no,
Love.
she had the Jungle Love sound. She
I think
had
I had the Jungle Love
yeah.
Oh, you
45.
did put it up. Okay. All
You
right.
know
The
what's
bird, the
sad?
bird,
I don't have
the
a
bird,
The
spider. I don't
bird.
have
Oh.
a
the
spider,
bird.
so I can't even if I had a record player, I couldn't play my 45s.
Oh, I
I
love my
have a record
45.
player. I just don't have a spider. I don't have a spider for 45s. I do have a
I
record
might have
player.
to get myself a record player and bring back that
I have
vinyl.
one. I have one.
You know,
That'll be. Wait until September. That'll be my birthday present to you. I'll send you a record player.
And guys, we didn't even talk about like 80s hair bands. 'Cause
Oh,
that's like a whole
Poison,
nother,
every rose has its
tangent we
Poison.
thorn.
could have went on.
Yes.
I'm gonna
What
give
is?
you one here. Pass the Ducci by Musical Youth.
Oh my God! Pass the Digi on the left
Oh
hand side.
man,
Oh my!
that's
You know what?
80s.
Okay, Unconditional Love with Musical Youth. Two sings Passaducci. And hold on a second.
I don't remember this one.
Hold
It's
on a
Raining
second.
Men by the Weather Girls.
It's Raining Men. Oh, hi. We're your weather girl. Oh man, that is. Oh, Donna Summer. Oh, I
Who did
love
a
that
On
lot of
the
album
eight,
on the
radio.
radio.
who did a lot of
Oh my
70s hits,
goodness.
but she had a lot of 80s
Yes,
hits also.
that's what I'm
With
talking
hot
about.
stuff on that album,
80s hair metal
Hot Stuff,
bands, Twisted
yeah, Hot
Sister.
Stuff was on his album.
we're
You know
not
what
going to
else?
take it.
You
Come
know what
on,
else is
feel
on his
the
album?
noise.
You know what else is on his
Yeah.
album? No More Tears with her and Barbara Streisand. I'm pretty sure that was 80s.
On the radio. It's such a great song. I don't know if Hot Stuff was on that album, but MacArthur Park, all that stuff was awesome.
You
I
know,
mean,
yeah, but
Oh,
that's all. A lot of that is 70s,
yeah,
but
I
some
think
of
you're
that's
right.
80s.
Yeah.
yeah.
Heaven Knows. I think that's 80s though.
Heaven knows. I
Heaven
used to dance
knows.
to that
Oh,
all
with
the time at
Brooklyn
the
Dreams.
dances. Yeah.
Baby, please don't take your love, please don't take your love from me.
Kenny, you're blowing it up. All right, no singing. All right. Work hard. She works
Working
hard for the
hard
money.
for
I
your
think that
money.
was definitely 80s.
Work hard for your money was
That is
yes.
definitely 80s.
You know what?
That's like 82,
You know what
83.
we haven't. Okay, let's mention the comebacks of the '80s because Tina Turner made a definite comeback in the '80s.
Tina
Yeah.
Turner
Tina
definitely
Turner, the Mighty
with the
Yeah.
Burner.
movie and the music, and oh, she did a song with Brian Adams. It's only love. Was
Oh,
that?
yeah. It's Only Love. Yep.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
right.
Yes.
love that. Anyway,
No. Private Dancer by Tina Turner.
I like Simply the Best by Tina
simply.
Turner.
No,
I thought that
yeah.
was awesome.
The Private
You
Dancer
know,
was like so
Private Dancer was
sensual.
great.
Private Dancer was so sensual. Like Tina Turner
It
being
was.
my private dancer was my like teenage college dream. Like, okay.
Again, back to your love life. Boys to
Oh
Men.
my
Were
goodness.
they 80s or more 90s?
They were late
What-
80s, early 90s.
I think they were more 90s, though. I mean, I'd have to say they had probably more hits in the
I mean,
90s.
Because to
New
me, they were like
Edition-
right at the beginning of
New
that
Edition
New
was
Jack
new-
Swing kind of
yeah, New
sound.
Edition- New Edition was
Agreed.
more 80s. New Edition was more 80s.
Yeah.
You know?
But they bled
Wow.
over into the 90s. I think
Yeah.
New Edition did.
Yeah, New Edition was one, and there's a lot of people in the 80s. Of course, we can't mention everybody.
No, that's for sure.
But we've covered a lot and
Like
shared a lot
somebody
of
in the
vinyl, so
80s,
that's
somebody in
pretty
the
cool.
80s, somebody in the 80s that produced a lot and wrote a lot was an artist named Kashif.
Oh yeah, I remember him.
Kashif, who I think passed away not too long ago. Tina turned everything she touched into awesomeness. Yes, Tina Turner, the Mighty Burner, did turn everything into awesomeness. Tina Turner, the Mighty Burner.
True. Yeah.
So,
All right, guys. So who haven't we mentioned that comes to mind from the 80s?
we did mention Bowie, right? Because Bowie was a big part of the
mentioned Bowie.
80s.
We
Let's Dance.
We did the Bowie. We
Queen.
didn't talk Elton John. And I
Queen
think
was
he
a big
had
part of the
hits in the
80s.
80s as well.
I'm still standing. Yeah. Did I ever tell you my George Michael story about the 80s?
I I believe you have, but
My
who am I to
George Michael,
stop you?
my George Michael stories to the 80s. I was dating a girl in the 80s,
Of course.
and the
There you
late
go.
80s, early 90s, and I was singing "Careless Whispers," and she was like, and she got on my case. She was like, "Are you trying to tell me something?" So my message to all the guys out there is, don't sing "Careless Whispers" while you're at your girlfriend's house because it doesn't work out well.
Right.
Okay. And yeah. In the early '90s, I tell you about my trip to California. How the '80s artists helped me in the early '90s because one of the artists in the early '90s was Bon Jovi, who definitely like everybody loved. Wanted Dead or Alive, Living on a Prayer.
Well, now
John
you're
Right.
Bon
slipping
Jovi.
into the 90s.
Yeah, well, no, but the '80s was John Bon Jovi. '80s was Bruce Springsteen, and
Yeah.
they were both from Jersey. So when I went to the West Coast, and I lived in the West Coast for like 5 or 6 months, I would tell girls that I was from Jersey, and the first thing they would ask me was about John Bon Jovi and Bruce Springsteen. I said, "Oh yeah, I run into them guys all the time when I go to the clubs because living in Jersey, you would run into those guys,
Yeah.
and it would help me meet girls."
Yep.
I just
Yep.
wanted to show you guys this. This is an album I had from the 80s. It's called Hooked on Classics.
Okay, who's singing? Who's
But
singing?
it was
What
actually a
songs are
hit
on it?
in the 80s that got airplay on radio stations. So, just so you know.
I mention this before because the '80s was a time. I believe truly that the '80s was a time when remixes and house music was starting to form.
Mm.
This is
Like
the
you
12
got,
inch of I Melt With You by Modern English.
oh my God, I melt with
That's
you.
80s.
This is 12 inch. This is totally 80s. And again,
Ooh.
what movie was this
But
featured on? Can you
but
name that film?
The film that
I Melt
Melt
With You
with
was,
You was featured on.
yes. And it has
Do
a
you know the
fantastic
film?
oh, wait a
soundtrack.
minute, wait a minute. I have to tell you have to go to, yes, the Galaxy, which was in Magnolia or Summerdale, New Jersey. Um, the Galaxy was like a big place to go. Back in the day, where a lot of acts that became famous started Galaxy, and what was the other place in Belmar on 130 that they tore down? But the Galaxy was a very
Is that the
famous
carousel?
rock place, huh?
The carousel?
The Carousel.
Was that the place?
No, it was a place on 130 they
No.
tore down. Now they're building something new there. But anyway, the Galaxy. I know where the Galaxy is. The Galaxy was a very popular place, Dion. Thank you for bringing that back to us. And it had a lot of acts in it that played, and I could see Bon Jovi playing at the Galaxy way back in the day because it's a very popular place in the Jersey area to play. But yeah, so I mean, like it was so. I mean, it was a time of wonderment in the '80s where you didn't. Well, like the music was. It took you places that you didn't think you would go.
Agreed.
Um, and a lot of '80s musicians are not getting the credit for the things that they did back then for music. The '80s resurgence was sort of like what '60s did to the Motowns, everyone did to the '80s. Kind of brought it back. I mean, you had people like the Rhythmics with Annie Lennox. Matter of fact, I was
Yeah.
watching. I was watching earlier today. There was a video of David Bowie and Annie Lennox um, playing with Queen and performing under pressure,
Wow.
And
and
again,
which was phenomenal. Annie Lennox, who also sang with Aretha Franklin, and Annie Lennox, who was "I Love What I Lied to You."
And
I
if we're
love that too. And what movie is that
if we're
from?
talking about those collaborations too, um, and also kind of like synergies in music, you can't forget a kind of classic moment in the 80s with Run DMC and then Aerosmith and
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
merging of those two sounds in Walk This Way,
Yes.
which
Yeah. I mentioned
again,
that
we didn't
earlier.
talk any
Yeah.
rap, so I couldn't even talk about the
Yeah.
Fat Boys or Grandmaster Flash and the
Yeah.
Yeah.
message
Melly Mel.
and all that
Melly
stuff
Mel
that
and the
was a
message.
part
Yeah.
of the 80s.
Melly
Yeah.
Mel, who was in, because Ed showed that album. He had a breaking, but the first breaking,
Breaking Electric
Melly
Boogaloo.
Mel with,
Message.
and then you had Chaka Khan, but then later Chaka Khan, um, you know, teamed up with Melly Mel. Karawaki Chaka Khan, Karawaki Chaka Khan.
Oh
What
You
was
know,
it?
gosh.
you know, I feel for you. I feel for you.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
because we didn't even get into it. Like there were just music that came from a whole genre of movies in the 80s, including what was the movie with Run DMC and Sheila E.
Oh,
and
Crush
and then
Groove,
there was another
Crush Groove.
movie with Electric Boogaloo. Like just oh my goodness.
Electric
We can
Boogaloo
go
was
on and on, but
featured.
it's already 10 o'clock. We're like 30 minutes past our time. So we need to wrap up this particular show. We want to say thank you to Ed for being on, our brother from another mother.
Thanks for
And
having me.
thank you to all of you guys for listening and tuning in and contributing with your comments to be a part of the show and to help celebrate the 80s. We do this every Saturday night. Kathy and Kenny talk pop culture with special guests like our friend Ed Brown. And usually Ed Brown's in the comments giving us all the facts. Tonight he's here. He brought his receipts. He had his vinyl in
No, no,
tow to make
no,
it such a great
nobody,
show.
nobody called in. I'm like waiting for people to call in.
uh, the show is over, my friend. We're winding down. Thank you, Dion. Thank you, our cousin Lisa, Dawn who tuned in, Miss Santos who was on the line,
Patty,
Steve, Patty, everybody for hanging out with us on a Saturday night. Just something fun that we do. If you have stroll down memory lane, had a memory or two, you can support the show. There's a link in the description. Buy us a coffee. It goes to help us keep streaming and bringing everybody in. Oh, especially with the clutch of
Tracy Ullman. They don't know.
and also it was a nice touch, Ed, because he's got his Karate Kid shirt on, wax off.
you know what,
So he
I
was
was
in
gonna,
80s mode tonight. That's just
I was gonna
sweet.
wear my. Speaking of you wearing your Karate Kid, I was gonna wear my Cobra Kai shirt today,
I
and
was thinking about wearing that tonight too. I'm glad you
my
didn't.
Cobra, because Cobra Kai. If you watch the show Cobra Kai, it's like it brings the 80s back to you when the flood, because they bring scenes
Uh,
back from the original Karate Kid movie. Sometimes they bring
it
instances
answers
back.
a lot of questions.
Yeah, and you know what? It actually makes Rock Machio look like the jerk in Karate Kid in some
Agreed.
aspects of it. It makes him look like the jerk
Okay,
in Karate Kid.
Johnny
guys.
is the good guy.
Yeah, it makes Johnny look like the good guy.
Agreed. Couldn't agree more with that.
So now we're getting into Cobra Kai. We I am so I just tried to do this lovely wrap up and kind of close out the show.
I know, but we're having so much fun.
I
We're
know.
having so much fun.
Let's
I
keep
know
going.
we are having a good time. But you know what? Ed has been here before. Ed will be back. Once again, thank you so much, Ed, for being a part of the show tonight.
Thank you,
Thank you
Ed.
for
Thank you,
having
Ed.
me.
Hey, Ed, don't when we sign off. I have to ask you a question. Don't
Okay,
go off.
so
Don't go
just
nowhere.
hang
No
out for a
problem.
minute, Ed. We'll be right back with you. Again, having Ed here tonight was just perfect for Siblings Day. He's our brother from another mother.
Yes,
And
he
in
is.
fact, I think our parents will probably adopt Ed over us at some point. Um, but to
It'll
my
be in the
brother,
will.
happy
It'll be in the
Siblings Day. I
yeah.
am
It'll be in the will
thankful
before
for
me.
you and
Thank you.
I
I'm
love
thankful for
you.
you, Kathy. I love you too, Kathy. Thank you very much.
And with that,
I
guys,
look
we
forward.
love you. We
I look
appreciate
forward
you
to the
for
Saturday
tuning
night we
in.
spend together.
Thank you so much. We will see you next week.
God bless your soul and keep living, man. Peace.
Thank you for geeking out with Kathy and Kenny on Kathy and Kenny Explain Pop Culture.